I'm gonna guess I did it right this time, Doc.
It looks like you did. I got the little banner up there that said that we were live streaming. Oops, I just lost your volume. I actually lost all your sound. Your sound went away. There's no sound.
Okay,
There we go.
this is just. I think this is part of learning how to be patient. Right, right. Everything's great when the technology works. Good morning. He's Dewey Freeman. I'm Mark Sylvester. After a little bumpy start, we are the Elder Council. It's almost Thanksgiving time. It's almost the end of 25. Getting ready for 26. Are you ready for 26?
Am I ready for 26? Actually, yes, in some ways, I'm ready for the shift in energy, and I'm a little bit stunned that this this is where we're at. That we have like 6 weeks until the new year, which is mind blowing.
Right. Well, when you put it that way, I hadn't even considered. Yeah, yeah. It's like I have been running so hard. I know you've been running so hard that what do they say? Time. That's why we like to be busy because time goes fast. But gosh, at this time in my life, I would like it to be a little slower so I can enjoy it.
One of the pieces that I realized just a couple of days ago that I've since the middle of September, which is like 2 months ish, I have led or co-led six in multi-day intensives.
Jeez.
And they're around various things, but it was like, oh, no wonder I'm like feeling like I'm been working a lot.
Yeah, you have.
And it was interesting. And this sort of I think feeds into what we chatted about a little bit before we got on. And I love the Oscar Wilde quote that you read, so maybe we can read that to people. But yesterday, I said to my partner Kimberly, because I've done a lot of building outside too, and staining, and just maintenance work on our home and our property. And I came in from working all day, and thankfully I had a friend helping me because the lumber that I was using was really heavy. I said, a 75-year-old man, the messages I got is a 75-year-old man shouldn't be doing what I just did or what
Mm.
I do. And at the same time, I'm going, I would not have it any different.
I,
And um, I mean, I'm aware that some of it, I go a little bit slower than I have in the past. My strength isn't the same as it was when I was 40, obviously. And at the same time, it's like, I don't know that I would have it different because it was, um, It really is satisfying
Mm.
to break some of those myths of you get old and you just sit around and watch 17 football games all at the same time on your TV. So
You can do that?
I I believe that it can be done. I can't do it, but I believe it can be done.
That Oscar Wilde quote is with age comes wisdom. Sometimes age comes alone.
Mm. So what's the difference for you? Because I know that both of us think about this a lot. And for you, what's the difference between age and wisdom or just age?
Um, for some reason at this time in my life, and I don't know why, I have some ideas of why it might be, but I'm meeting lots of new people. It could be because I have a startup. That's probably what it is. And we're community based. So there's lots of people joining the community all the time. We had a big event last night. So I'm meeting people a lot. And I self identify as an elder
Hmm.
primarily, right? But
Hmm.
I will say I am an elder, not an older. And as soon as I say that, they're like, oh, because we all know people who've gotten older and they're not elders. They're just older. That's all, just old people.
How do you define the two?
Older is just chronological. Elder is through wisdom and empathy and a deeper appreciation of self and others and your place in the world and who you are and what it means. And you can talk at deeper levels philosophically because you've been there, you've done that. I I go on further to describe myself as a Sherpa, and Sherpas are known, in the true tradition. A Sherpa is one who helps you climb Everest, and so if we look at that metaphorically, it's Sherpas help us climb impossibly hard mountains. And they don't just say, "Hey, there's the mountain. Have fun. Here's your biscuits." They're with you. They're carrying stuff. They're helping you. They're putting resources up ahead on the trail because they know you're going to need them. They've been there, done that. They do that. That's what they do. And it was in this. I'm writing an essay on this, and I like to do some research first just to make sure I'm on the right track. And as you know, my the everywhere system I've built has a ton of quality gates in it that I have to get through before my team will let me publish my piece. And one of them was like deeply understanding the words you're using, and I just loved that it clicked for me. In fact, it's 7 in the morning here, and I got up at 3 and was writing till 5 this morning, and it was during that period that it hit me that I've been called a Sherpa since 2016 by I was named that by Lieutenant Colonel Scott Mann. He says, "So I know what you are." After spending a day with him, he says, "You're a Sherpa." Because up until that point, I had self-identified as an ambassador, because that's what I'd been called at Wavefront. And I just got Sherpa equals guide, and I didn't really investigate it until I did this morning.
Hmm.
And I thought about it a lot, and it's like, well, it's not that they help you up any mountain; they help you up the hardest mountains, right? We of course, right, the Himalayas, the hardest mountains. So as a Sherpa and as an elder, I help others up the mountain. And I don't do it by saying, this is how you climb a mountain.
Hmm.
I do it by um, this is who you are, and this is understanding why you want to climb the mountain, and have you find the resources inside yourself, and what is it about the challenge that is so intriguing to you? What is it about all of those things? And those, I question the question. Yeah? And are we asking ourselves the right questions? And I think as elders, we are very good at questioning the question. When we meet with someone younger who has obviously come to us for some guidance, um, a mentor is how do I get better doing the thing you've been doing? That's not what I'm talking about. An elder is someone comes to us and they really need some guidance, whatever that is. Now, you as a counselor, I'm going to get different answers from you, but it's that I know the question to ask them because I've asked myself those same questions.
Right. One of the pieces that so let me come in. Are you okay? What you just said, I think, is you said it quite well, and it's very profound. So can we hang on to that for just a moment and come in a little bit of a different door? One of the pieces that oh, I think we're having a little technical difficulty here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the rain or what it is.
That actually makes sense.
Not helping any. I'm sorry, audience.
I think we have a little bit of a possible rain out here.
So the camera, can you hear me okay, though?
I can hear you. The sound quality has shifted quite a bit, but I can hear you.
Test, 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 test.
Okay, now
It's
you
yeah,
sound
it's the camera, and I don't want to. Oh, okay.
there we go.
Camera's back, audio's back.
Welcome back.
So you were just reflecting back on what I had said.
Yeah, that knowing, and part of what you were saying was that our job is to help someone else reach their goals versus in some levels doing it for them. But the other piece that really strikes me, and especially in my field, is that the difference between getting older and becoming an elder is that older is actually becomes stagnant. We become stagnant in our quote oldership versus still being in the process of learning, still being in the process of wondering truly how much do we really know, and how are we willing to continue our growth on all levels, emotionally, physically, energetically, uh, but particularly knowledge wise. Because part of what's been happening for me is, I mean, people sit down with me, and like I said, I literally have finished We completed 6 intensive multi-day intensives in the last 8 weeks, which when I look back at that, I'm sort of going, that's pretty mind-blowing. What am I doing with all of that? But the other part of that is I'm actually seen as somebody that knows something. And inside, I'm going, yeah, I do know something, and it's like that much. And there's so much more out there. There's so much more to learn. There's so much more to be creative about and to literally delve into as both a learner and a possible teacher.
The I think the very fact that you're thinking you only know this much. Well, if you only know that much, then the people around us are like that much, right? You know, and people really. I think what happens that if someone maybe attempts you're in situations that are therapeutic to a degree, and where people are meant to open up and be vulnerable and be them, just to put themselves in that situation. In the world that's not that kind of environment, people will talk to me, and they'll find out pretty quickly, just because of who I am, that it's gonna be deeper than just a shoot the shit conversation. And
Totally.
they will, that's either going to have them lean in or back off. And if they lean in and it continues to be good, which by and large it almost always is for
Mm-hmm.
both of us,
Mm-hmm.
then they're like, thank you, sir, can I please have another? And they want to come back for that, and that just adds, just makes me feel better, makes them feel better. Felt like you didn't waste your time, felt like you were being heard, they were being seen, all of that stuff, and it's self-fulfilling in a sense. My my current lens I'm looking at all of that through is we have uh, a huge generation, the boomers, our generation, that have kind of benched themselves. Hey, we're on the bench, we're retired, we worked hard, now we're gonna enjoy it, and we're, I'm putting myself on the bench, and happily. Now, I'm not talking about all the people who took the early retirements for one reason or another, or any of that kind of stuff. I'm saying you just like, hey, I'm ready to retire. You and I, we're not going to retire. We'll retire. You know, I'm going to slump in front of the computer. You'll be on a horse. That's that's how that's going to go, right? And
Uh-huh.
there's millions of us out there, and so my my challenge is that I think boomers have an opportunity to step up and be elders in their community, whatever that means. I don't mean being the city elder or the church elder, but
Right, right, right.
in the community. And it doesn't mean being the old guy who goes on and on with stories at Thanksgiving dinner with Thanksgiving coming up. No, it's truly being an elder, because, and here was a thing, that through my study I learned, and it makes sense as soon as you hear it. You go, oh yeah. We assume that the younger generations are going to solve the digital divide. They are going to solve the AIification of civilization. Yet, most of them, if you look at us, we didn't grow up with computers. Our kids didn't have a computer in the house until college. Their kids had iPhones, mid
Hmm.
elementary, and then iPads. So they grew up with screens. They don't haven't had kids yet. And Gen Z, that's them grown up. They didn't grow up with AI. AI just starting now. They're teenagers. And so they're like, well, I don't know what this is, and I don't know if I need it, which is very interesting to observe in the real world, I've been studying this. They're like, I don't know, pops. I don't know if I need that AI or not. Right now, the next Gen A, is going to grow up with AI, and we're not going to have that. Here's the interesting part. We're the one generation of all the current generations on the planet that has seen more technological change than any other generation in history.
That would be true.
We have seen what works well, what doesn't work, how to integrate it, how not, how to adopt it, how it's changed everything and not all of that stuff. So I think there's a real opportunity right now for elders to come in and help the Gen Z, very specifically Gen Z, because uh, we all come off as grandparents to them, and they think we're cute. And as soon as we open our mouths, and they're my middle grandson, he goes, Pops, you're more Gen Z than we are, huh? So if what we're trying to do is empower voices and inspire change, which is why I'm here, I think finding ways to have more interaction with those younger generations, specifically though Gen Z, is a great way to show up as an elder. Enjoy a little reverse mentoring because there's stuff from them to teach us, but also to be able to be a positive force in their life that is not their any blood relative, not their boss, not their immediate parents, not their teacher, not their peers, but an adult that sincerely desires that they have a fantastic life and knows the kinds of questions to ask. Because the kinds of questions I'm asking right now, people have a hard time answering. And
Like
as a result,
what kind of questions are you asking that people are having a hard time?
why are you here? Why do you think you're here? What's your mission? What, why do you, for whatever reason, that's a, that's something we don't contemplate until midway through the race when we're 50, or we have disastrous things happen in our life and we're forced to deal with that. But I think that just this is purely conjecture, that the average person doesn't think about that till they that hit that midway point and they have this, oh my God, I'm middle age. I look at a 50-year-old and I go, you're the age of my kids. What are you talking about, middle age? You're the age of my kids. So get over yourself. So it's just like all of this has hit me in the last 48, 72 hours. And which has got me writing about it and thinking about it and researching it and really calling it into being. And I see there's an opportunity to maybe light up some olders and turn them into elders.
Well, one of the pieces with love your question about why are we here? Why are you here? In my world, here's part of what I'm aware of. You and I, when you and I were born, there was nothing that anyone would call a computer. It
Correct.
didn't exist. in engineering school, the first computer that I was around was in a building that was about 25 feet by 25 feet square. You'd walk in the front door, there was an aisle all the way around about 3 feet wide, but in the center was this gigantic thing they called a computer. It was all tubes and diodes and et cetera, et cetera. The chips had not been invented yet. The the thing that you and I got to do was we were blessed with playtime being outside,
Mm.
and playtime being in sandboxes and water and mud and nature, et cetera, et cetera. As I do think that AI is bringing and going to bring something valuable. However, it doesn't deal with us on any way around value of life. It doesn't deal with us in any way around living and dying. It doesn't deal with anything around us knowing. A lot of people even now go, well, I love nature, but what people don't realize is that we are nature, and that there's no separation between us and nature and the natural world. But we can pretend like there is through AI. We can pretend like there's that separation. So instead of working with and using AI, for instance, as a tool, it it's be, it can become, or even video games, or even therapeutic processes. It the AI is becoming what we attach to instead of attaching to each other, attaching to nature, us knowing that we're actually part of this earth versus, and when we know that, then AI, computers, et cetera, can be a tool that we use, but that we are not that tool. That is not who we are. Because even when you and I mean, some of the best moments that you and I have gotten to spend together have been in your backyard or in my backyard. And it does, I mean, we spent other times, or on Maui, and not Maui,
Hawaii.
yeah, Kauai. And um, we have spent time that where we're held by, the hummingbirds or the turtles on the beach, or the um, my horses up here where we went up when you were here and we went up and played with them. I mean, those kinds of things. And unless we're able to hold that, I actually don't think we can become elders, because eldership comes out of the earth. Eldership has has literally been held in high esteem for thousands of years.
Right. Right.
And AI is only a few years old.
I want to stay right there for just a second. In my studies for this piece, I came upon that indigenous cultures have had a sense of eldership for thousands of years,
Yeah.
and we do not have a sense of eldership in our culture that I'm aware of, right? We warehouse our elders,
Yeah.
right? I think if we look at the Asian culture, specifically Japan is the one I know the most of. Grandma, grandpa, like we live a couple generations in a house, right?
Mhm.
And I know, and that's like, why would you not do that? And we're like, why would you do that? In fact, I had someone on my TEDx show uh, who is a realtor who specializes in larger homes that they then reconfigure so that mom and dad are in one side and you know you and your wife are in the other side with your kids so that it doesn't so it's kind of a happy medium between those things. I think that's interesting. I want to come back though to this is it's almost like a call to eldership and I wonder now that I'm thinking about it, is it the kind of thing that you can declare, or I am an elder, or is it a thing that other people say about you? I mean, you know, it's like, what do you want to be known for? What do you want people to say when you leave the room? Hey, he's a, or you know, or is that, you know, I know we've earned it. You and I both have earned it through just plenty of hard living, to be truthful. You know, um, I'm just curious. What do you think about that?
Uh,
Well,
I
if someone is listening right now, and for some reason they're doom scrolling through YouTube, and they see a couple old guys talking, and they listen, and they might be an older, huh? And they're going, huh? You know, I kind of would like to do that. I did check out a little early. I did. I want back in the game. To stay with that metaphor, I want back in the game. I don't necessarily want to be on the bench. I'm not helpful on the bench. Put me on first base coach. You know, stay with baseball for a little while. Go Dodgers. The maybe that's what it is. It's maybe I'm going to add a little bit, like a little bit to my story because I haven't published it yet about this idea of hitting the bench too soon. And some just, I hit the bench, I'm out. Thank you. I changed my clothes. I'm never coming back. It was a great ride. Thank you very much. I'm off to see the world. Great. But then there's the other ones like, that's my life. And I'm not an active player anymore. I get that. Doesn't mean I can't be a coach. Doesn't mean I can't be,
right.
I mean, Otani has got a sensei who travels with him who he's as much a spiritual coach as he is a physical coach, you
Mm,
know, in terms of his frame of mind. And it's kind of everybody's going, wow, well, greatest player in the world. Maybe we should pay attention to this.
mhm. Well, one of the pieces that I think is really important, and this is really it's a little bit of a paradox because we put ourselves out there as the elder council, and at the same time, if I walk into the room, any room, and go, "Hi, I'm Dewey, I'm the elder here," that doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't
An,
feel
an elder wouldn't do that.
exactly. And it's just like this, I mean, the same thing. I mean, we could like sticking with the sports metaphor. I don't know. I know when I watch baseball, I know exactly what's happening, but I don't follow it enough to know the names of players. Although I watched last couple games of the World Series this year, which were great.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your support.
Yeah, it was amazing. But if you take a Michael Jordan or you take a Magic Johnson or you take a um,
The 1% of the 1%, right? The
yeah,
people who
none
get
of
into pro
those,
sports are
no,
one percenters.
none of those people are going to stand up and say I'm the best.
Right.
And
That would
each
be
one,
weird if they did.
yeah. And the ones that have they're not the ones that actually people follow.
Correct.
But the bottom line is that those people, whether it's a Magic Johnson or a John Elway or a Tom Brady or any of those people, they literally they do own how good they are, but at the same time they're going, I would be nothing without my team.
Right.
Nobody wins a football game or a baseball game
Right.
or a basketball game all by
Right.
themselves. And it nobody does. And uh, one of the big pieces and we talked about this a little earlier, what's sort of the difference between elderhood and mentorship, and is in mentorship, I think we lead from the front because someone's saying, which direction do I go? In eldership, oftentimes what strikes me is leading from behind,
Mm.
where instead of marketing and putting ourselves out there and going, hi, I'm an elder, you know, come and talk to me. It's it's more like people seeing and getting what we have to offer and saying, can I spend time with you? You know, being around you feels good. The energy that you bring is different than the energy that other people bring. And um, I mean, just like what you were saying earlier, that you're meeting a lot of new people because you're doing a startup. I mean, one is how many people do startups in their mid 70s, but two, what that brings is that we are also changing the stereotype of what it means to get older. And what I mean by that is, I actually said to my partner Kimberly, 75-year-old men, quote, this is my upbringing, 75-year-old men shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And building stuff and lifting timbers that are 70 or 80 pounds. Or earlier this week, I unloaded 3 tons of hay and put it in my hay storage, and we're, quote, not supposed to be doing that. And on one level, my body goes, yeah, do it, but do it a little bit slower. Give yourself the time. But at the same time, I wouldn't change anything.
Right.
And but that piece of redefining what it actually means to age. So getting older, eldership, and aging. What it actually means to age is, I think that eldership changes the definition of aging.
Mm. Um, we go back then. It's because, well, this may be contrived. I was just thinking is like you understand what your mission is. As an elder, I understand the mission. As an older, like, I'm on a mission? Yeah, dude, you're on a mission. Oh, what is it? You know, as opposed to an elder, like, yeah, we're yes, we know we're aging. We know we understand all of that stuff. And at least for me, there's a deep desire to pass on institutional knowledge, generational knowledge. Especially, I have three grandsons, and they get 100% attention. And I want them to, they're going to live their own lives and get their own scars and all of that stuff. Yep, I celebrate that as much as I celebrate the highs. And they have the opportunity of having an elder in their direct bloodline
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
wants them to be successful as opposed to just an older relative.
Right. That you, their parents come and visit you once a month, or maybe only 2 or 3 times a year on holidays.
Yeah.
And the mission metaphor I like, and what I would, a yes and to that would be a mission with a certain set of values.
Of course, absolutely.
And those values have to do with relationship, have to do with honoring truth, have to do with integrity, have to do with with and we've talked about this on other talks, have to do with teaching I, thou, we relationships that cannot be taught many other places.
Right. I'm going to leave it right there. That was like perfect button. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, if you don't mind struggling through our, it was me. I finally figured out it was. I have these super fancy studio earphones
Yeah.
plug in. What turns out, you actually have to have them plugged in. So this little wire needs to plug into this guy. And all week I've had issues and I thought it was connecting up underneath the here and this was loose and it would get loose.
Oh,
And that's what the problem was. So hey Doc, thank you so much. Hey folks, we're here on Saturday morning, 7 o'clock live. Don't do any pre or post production on it anymore. We do a live show, live conversations. If you've got questions, um, just put them there. I'll read them and we'll talk about them. But have a great week. We've got Thanksgiving coming up in a couple weeks. I sure have a lot to be thankful for. He's sitting on the other side of that screen. He's Dewey Freeman.
thank you, everybody.